Hi everyone, it's a great pleasure to be here with you today and to share insight about hospitality in Africa in the post-COVID era. So before we go into the topic, let me introduce myself. So my name is Guilain Denisselle. I've been working in hospitality for more than 30 years now, working in hotel operations, PMS, channel manager, CRS, and doing consulting for more than 20 years. And I've been writing articles for 20 years, launched my own web magazine called Tendance Hoteliers 11 years ago, and it's all in French. So the Hotelier Digital Future panel we've got is going to talk about several topics: digital hospitality, communication trends, artificial intelligence, and mobile app. We get into the topics. Each panelist is going to introduce himself and tell us a bit about himself, his company, and how his company is doing since the beginning of the pandemic.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thanks for joining this panel. My name is Pieter Jordaan, or English Pieter Jordaan. I'm the Group Chief Technology Officer for TUI Group. We are a listed company in German stock market and London stock market. We have around 70,000 employees. We have 1,600 travel agencies, so we are an integrated tour operator. We also have our own airlines. We have 150 aircrafts, over 400 of our own hotels. We have a lot of contracted in hotels as well. We have 17 cruise liners. So that has obviously been very interesting with COVID. And to give you an idea, we take around 27 million customers on holiday every year in around 180 regions. So we are quite widespread in the world. In Africa, we have 24 hotels, and my role and what I would like to bring to this panel is, I think, a little bit of the global perspective. We've got quite a wide range of penetration, impact, especially everything from ports having to close, how you deal with that, your aircrafts, your cruise liners, your hotels, your destinations, your transfers, and all those type of things. I would like to kind of bring the tour operator perspective to the panel. My current role is overseeing all 15 countries. We're also consolidating all our IT across the different hotel brands, airlines into single IT platforms. So digitalization, bringing everything on one digital platform. We're also moving everything to the cloud. We have ambition to close all our data centers in the next year. So we have about 24 data centers globally. So we are very, very active in the IT space. And of course, it's a big enabler for the business as well. I like what Abbas said. This IT has been very active, actually. It's been a big enabler in COVID and post-COVID activities in the resorts, in aircrafts, etc. So I'm looking forward to the discussion.
Thank you, Peter. The main topic of today is digital hospitality. We have cut discussion into several parts, and the first one is about internet penetration, what it means in terms of IT infrastructure, broadband, and things like that. But first of all, what is a digital hotel, Peter?
Thank you. Yes, I hope I could stretch our context here. I think when it talks about digitalization, all of us has read some sort of paper, right? And it's very broad. I think the mistake we make many times is we talk about internet penetration or high bandwidth, etc. I think what we learned, especially running cruise liners and aeroplanes and hotels, we try to digitalize the experience of the customer and try to have platforms that could run in the air without internet, run on the middle of the ocean without internet, and run on a resort or an island where I have low bandwidth access. So I do not account necessarily digitalization to high bandwidth, high internet, 3G, 5G. I think that's the first distinction I would like to make, because you can have a very nice digital experience on a cruise ship that is effectively a floating hotel without the internet experience, as long as you have very good Wi-Fi infrastructure in your hotel. So I think the second thing is, when we talk about digital hotels, for me, there's a big distinction between the direction that business hotels are taking versus customer or holiday experiences, where the holiday maker still wants to have interaction with the staff. They want to have a barman there. They want to have someone on on the beach, maybe serving cocktails. They want to maybe talk to agents about excursions, where a business experience and expectation is very different. For them, time optimization efficiency is a highest priority. They want to get in, make a reservation, don't necessarily want to talk to people. So I think the definition of what we mean by digital resorts and holiday experiences versus business hotels is going to deviate more and more and more. So, and for me, digital is all about serving the customer, whether that's a business user or whether that's a holiday maker. So how can I help him to answer his questions, spend more time on the pool, having to walk less to the kiosk or to your front desk to find out when the next bus is out to, go see the volcanoes or go see excursion, being able to book very easily and quickly. So we've done a lot of innovation, and we use our cruise ships as an innovation platform that we then roll out to the hotels. And the reason for that is we refurbish the cruise ships quite often. So we put in high bandwidth Wi-Fi infrastructure on the cruise ships. That allows us to track customers' behavior. We can see where they are, where they're moving. We have digital screens everywhere in the corridors. I don't know if you ever tried to walk on a cruise ship. And when you just arrive on your cruise ship, you try to find, constantly get lost. Am I walking in the right direction? So actually knowing who the customer is, and when he walks up to a digital display, greeting him by his name, telling him, hey, your reservation to sushi bar is to the right, 2 stairs up left, being able to make that sushi bar reservation without actually leaving his cabin or having to go somewhere else, being able to sit next to the pool, order a cocktail without getting up, worry about losing his son, his chair. So personalization for me, digitalization is not a goal in itself. It's a means towards a personalized experience. It's a means towards efficiency, both on the staff side of our hotels and on the customer side of our hotels. It's a means towards more efficient operations, maintenance, predictive maintenance. So for me, that's what digitalization is just a means for us to serve our customers better. It is that fine balance between human interaction, predicting what someone wants before he asks, or maybe answer his question before he actually knows he's going to have that question, but still keep that human touch that the hospitality business is really there for. I don't think that digitalization of the hotel or hospitality industry is where we remove human interaction. I think it is where we personalize human interaction. I would love to go on a cruise ship where I walk up to the bar and they say, oh, welcome, Mr. Jordaan. I see you really like this whiskey. I took the liberty and pour you one. For me, that's where we would need to get to, where we really use digital aspects, facial recognition, AI, not to be intrusive, but actually personalized experience for the customer. I think when it comes to COVID, it's even more important. What people would want to see is feel safe. They want to have a frictionless experience on the holiday. And I think we have our own stores. You come to our store, you go on our plane, you get on our bus, you go to our resort, you go see our excursions. So we have the end-to-end. So it's a little bit easier for us to have that connected journey and really innovate and think about what it should look like and feel like. And of course, we need to work with a whole bunch of other hoteliers. I think what the industry is looking for is how do we make post-COVID the travel experience frictionless. After 9/11, we all saw heightened security at the airport. Suddenly you have to come early and there's loads more things you have to do. Your whole check-in experience changed. I think we know that has to happen in the hotel industry. When it comes to digital, post-COVID era, what would that look like? How would that feel? How would technology make that easier? I think a lot of that would have to be about interacting with each other, agencies, sharing of information, making it easy for the customer, not having to share information 10 times. Right now, you go, I don't know how it is where I live, when I go to a restaurant, I literally have to fill in my name and my ID and my telephone number every single time I go to a bar, and I leave and I go buy coffee. I have to do the same thing over and over and over again. So I think the experience of the industry would need to look at how we use technology to make post-COVID era easier, frictionless, probably also a good opportunity to digitalize, automate. I think it's a great opportunity post-COVID era for us to really think about not just the digital experience we want to have today, where do we want to be in the future? So I think that's what today is about, really think about how we can change the customer experience, whether that's business customers, a holiday, but for the whole travel experience, the whole chain, once you leave your house all the way to the hotel and back, how can we make that frictionless? So that's my opinion. I'm sure other panelists have different opinions on it, but thank you. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thanks, Peter. It's good that you brought the customer view to the discussion and not only the operator view, and that's great. And it was nice talking about the fact of filling in a document when you check in at a restaurant. You have to do that in front. Well, at the moment, restaurants are closed, but when they will open, we will have to do that again. And that's crazy that you have to use a pen and paper to do something that should and could be digitalized. So when it comes to digital hotel, we've got internet access. Broadband access is something essential.
I think what I mentioned with bandwidth versus digital, what I think, in my opinion, is that just because you have high bandwidth, that doesn't necessarily make you a digital hotel. So that's the distinction I'm making. I'm not saying bandwidth is not important. Of course it is. It's like oxygen, right? But I think also Roshan made a very good point. We are in Africa. We are on islands. You are on a cruise ship, right? So of course you can have high bandwidth internet. You're just going to pay for it. So design your hotel to have failures in internet. Design your experience, your guest experience, to have failure in internet. So what we do with cruise ships, we design it so you have a data center that has your movie streaming on the cruise ship, even though you don't have satellite connectivity in the middle of a sea day. We have high Wi-Fi bandwidth, so people connect to the Wi-Fi. They can do bookings, they can see the excursions, they can make their payments. So the experience is digital, even though you're not connected to the physical internet. So I think that's the distinction I'm trying to make, is that, of course, we need high bandwidth internet for guests. That's a high requirement. Totally agree. But also let's connect our hotel, make it digital, and design for failure, design for interruption, and design for offline modes, because they will occur. Of course, they will occur. And that's the distinction I want to make, just add to Roshan and Waleed's points.
Peter brought something to the table. It's a common trait to think that cloud-based solutions are going to replace everything. But when you are on a cruise, it's different. You have to have on-premise and cloud and everything to be connected. One of them was about communication trends and voice-enabled technological advancements. Who has implemented voice control and voice chat in his properties or cruise ships and things like that?
I think when we talk about voice, actually there's two aspects. There's speech to text, and then there's the interface of chat. So, and I like what Harish says, is there's 4 generations. My kids, they can't type, but they can definitely talk, and they talk to everything. So that generation wants to talk. They want to use voice to text. But more and more people are comfortable using chat channels to inquire. So I think the bridge is not going to be natural. It's not going to be phone and then suddenly voice. It's going to be phone, then chat channels, either on your mobile app, asking maybe guest services questions through chat messages. And then later on, the next generation will, instead of chatting on the channel, they will just ask via voice. So we've experimented with both, and I think the thing that has a lot of traction right now is chat channels. The other area that we don't naturally think about a lot of voice to text is actually helping with language barriers. So my kids, I traveled with them. They say, "Hey, Dad, can I borrow your phone?" I said, "Why? What do you want to do with my phone?" So, "Can I use Google Translate?" So they were playing in a park. One kid is French, the other one's German, and they're speaking English. And they switch to Google Translate auto translation on, and they will talk, give it to the other person, and they will play. So The actual voice to text is actually very, very useful when it comes to understanding different dialects, different languages in your guest services. Even if you use it behind the scenes, you have a little, maybe tablet and actually listens and gives you the text out, and it helps you. So I think that we will find more and more voice to text applications, not necessarily just combined or confined to Google Assistant or Alexa. So I think I separate these in two things: chat channels, which is very useful, I think, in guest services, even in staff. Our staff have channels for maintenance, channels for all sorts of things. The back office is basically now running on chat channels. I run a massive global team, and they're all just using chat channels to communicate. No more emails, no more telephoning each other. So, and then I think on top of that is voice to text.
One quick question, if you could just raise your hand to say yes. Have you heard about recruitment applications using AI as Meetic, for example, is doing? Would you use such a technology to recruit people for your team? Only 2 of 6 would use such application. Wow. Good to see. Someone is willing to talk, Peter?
I think, maybe I can add. I think when we think about AI will be everywhere, number one. Number two, AI will probably do a better job at recognizing certain patterns and things than humans, for sure. When it comes to behavior, personality stuff, of course, then you need to interview a person and make sure they fit to the team. But when it comes to actually large-scale data analysis stuff, AI is just purely better. Okay, so we use AI like we try to use it everywhere. We use it for yield management of our beds to seat ratios, actually pricing of our hotel beds, security, tracking people on properties. It will be there. Facial recognition, that is AI, knowing who a person is. We on a cruise ship takes a picture, or in hotels takes a picture of your face, all the photos that has been taken by the photographer, and spits out all the images that you are part of, and you can buy them. Okay, AI will be everywhere. So I think that the challenge for us is how do we use AI in a non-intrusive way to make the experience better, to make it easier and quicker for us, and actually penetrate areas where us as humans naturally would find it super hard to deal with that type of dimensions. So we also use AI in searches, predictive searching, matching where people actually look on a screen. Do they like this type of pool image? Do they like, a holiday picture where there is a family in, or do they like a holiday picture where there is no family in? You can do so much with AI. It's just totally insane. I think the challenge is the actual barrier to enter into it is quite high still. People like Amazon is making it a lot easier with services like facial recognition that you can just use through API calls. But I think for hoteliers, slowly, as internet connectivity improves, people will be able to access high-level AI services like facial recognition much easier. We use it, for instance, we take a picture for you when you enter the hotel or you come into the cruise ship, and now that I can use that to recognize you anywhere in the hotel. Anywhere you walk, I know who you are, I know what you do, I know your behavior, I can improve your guest experience. So of course there is privacy issues and all sorts of stuff that the industry needs to work through. But people are becoming more and more happy to actually share their data as long as they know what it's been used for and how it is helping them. So in the back office, in your pricing, in your maintenance, predictive maintenance is also AI. So I think AI is the future. And I read an article by McKinsey that actually did analysis, and they say that the industry that is the furthest behind on AI, but also has the potential of the highest impact in change due to AI, hospitality is in the top 3. The second highest one is logistics, okay, and the top one is actually financial services. So there's huge space for AI to really change and improve the experience for customers. So we try to invest in it, and I think more and more things will just automatically penetrate people's lives through AI.
Thank you, Peter, for your insight on this. Well, we still have to cover the mobile application. It's important to remember how people came to the internet. In continents like Europe and the US, for example, we were used to work on PC, and we used the internet on PC before we went to mobile. In some continents, people have gone to internet on mobile directly without a PC. So it's in some part of the world, it's obvious that mobile app is the only thing people are using. You can have a web app or a mobile app, and I think it's important to explain the difference between the two.
I think Roshan mentioned internet connectivity again for progressive web apps. We also use it. We use native as well for various other reasons, especially in the airline. We like responsive web apps for the reason that we can run them locally without connected to the internet. So of course it requires you to take the application, you need to deploy it locally, but you can distribute it on your local Wi-Fi on local URLs. We actually sometimes pop it up in your bounded box of your Wi-Fi. So when you try to connect to the Wi-Fi, automatically your app runs inside your bound boxes. So we like it that way because you can use it whether you're connected or not connected. Cruise ships, we actually use it on the airplane, similar. So to what Harish is saying, regardless of whether you're in the air, whether you're in this middle of the sea, whether you're in a hotel, similar experience you have connected. You can also capture a lot of analytics regardless of people is connected. The moment they get connected, we download analytics, we know what they clicked on, we know how to customize the experience further on. So I think that is a very important part of the mobile app in the future also, is to see how much time people spend where, how much questions they're asking, which areas they're reading, so we can customize and tailor our customer experience and also make it safer for them. So thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you very much. I would like to thank all of you for your time, for your insight. Thank the organization for having us on the Roundtable, and thank you to the people who attended. I hope you've learned or listened to something interesting. Have a nice day. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much.